What's going on, guys, and welcome to podcast number 7 of How's Your Bird. We're going to be breaking down all the crazy stuff that's going to be going on in basically all of sports. But before we get into that, please make sure you check out 413 Tourneys on Facebook. They are a huge up-and-coming gaming tournament that is expanding rapidly. If you want a fun environment to play your favorite games and make some money, this is the place for you. The tournament runs every Sunday and Wednesday, and you can sign up through Facebook. You can message them. If you have any questions, you can email us at howsyourBird@gmail.com, and we can also set you up through that way. But let's get into it. This whole coronavirus thing, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, in the United States is getting brazy. That is a big B, crazy. Let's jump into that.
Yeah. So you want to start off with just the MLB in general?
Wherever, man. Wherever you want us to jump in.
So, personally, there's been an outbreak on one team, the Marlins, as you all know. Personally, I do not think the MLB season will survive. The leadership in the MLB, I think, is horrible to begin with.
Terrible.
The owners and the commissioner, they had a video meeting the other day about continuing this, just anything about the season, and continuing the season wasn't even a question or a topic they were talking about. So that's a big thing. Like I said before, the Marlins had an outbreak on the team. To start, 11 Marlins players and 2 coaches had tested positive for COVID, and an additional 4 players recently tested positive.
Dude, when you mentioned
they're
COVID,
up to a total of 19 on the team now after today.
Yep, 19.
They found another player today.
That's as of July 29th.
So the next 6 games for them has been postponed so they can, quote, provide care for their players. Not exactly sure what that means, but
keep them safe.
I don't get why the MLB didn't decide to go in this quote-unquote bubble and play in that like the MLB did. They are traveling still, which is not the smartest thing if you're trying to continue a season. I think it's only going to get worse from here if they continue the season. I think you'll start to see players not wanting to play, players not wanting to travel to certain players. The national players, I know they voted. They did not want to travel to Miami to play the Marlins. I just don't. I wouldn't either. I completely understand where they're coming from. Why would anybody want to travel to Florida right now? It's basically the epicenter of COVID right now.
Yeah, so if anyone's watching who's not from the United States, basically the coronavirus, the new sneeze and cough is equivalent to shitting yourself in public. That's the point we're at.
Fact?
Yeah, no, it's bad. I did it before, and everyone literally, I thought I shit myself. I coughed, and everyone looked at me in such a way.
Wait,
I was like, I think I shit myself, and I was like, wait, I just coughed.
Okay, so we have confirmed Kyle has shit himself.
I have shit myself, but
that's question in public. Have you shit yourself?
In public.
Yes.
I have to think about this one.
He did it with me once.
What are we determining in public? Like, I'm shopping at the mall?
You said everybody looked at you like you shit yourself.
Like,
in
no,
public.
because I coughed, and everyone was like, oh my God, you coughed. And I was like, oh my God, did I shit myself? I was like,
public,
oh wait, I
public,
coughed.
Like out in
Did
the
you feel
public
like
area.
you shit yourself
Like you
when
walk
you
down
coughed?
the fucking in the mall, you're just walking.
I might have farted when I coughed.
You just shit.
But I don't.
You shit everywhere. And it just runs down your jaws.
That was like that time. That was like that time in 4th grade while I sneezed and farted.
All right.
And you called me out, and I was trying to hide it.
Yeah, but now when you cough, that's exactly what's happening. People are gonna call you out like you shit yourself for shitting yourself.
Yep.
You shit yourself. It's not safe.
I feel like if somebody shit themselves, I wouldn't be like, oh, he shit himself. I'd be like, oh, that's fucking.
I can see it running down his leg.
Yeah, but now when someone coughs you go, oh no, he has coronavirus. He's gonna die. So now it's just. So what do you want? You want poop in your pants? Or you want to die?
Well, that just means wear your goddamn mask.
Yeah. Ooh.
Literally in public.
Boom.
Like that's literally all we're asking you to do.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so back to this.
Back to the NBA.
Yeah, let's talk about how
MLB.
the situation started, because this is where the situation starts pissing me off right from the get-go. So the Marlins played the Phillies on Sunday, and prior to the game, the Marlins found out that Jose Urena wouldn't be able to play. Turns out that they even knew the reason that he wasn't going to be able to play was because he just tested positive.
And there were 4 other players along with him or 3 other players that had tested positive before the game.
Wow.
And And
4
turns
players
out,
total.
regardless of that, the players agreed in a group chat to still go ahead and play because it was their responsibility to continue playing.
With the
And-
Phillies too?
And apparently the Phillies concurred.
Yeah,
with
no,
them.
see,
Wait,
you know
so-
what I've noticed? I've
No
noticed
way.
that the owners aren't taking any leadership here in making decisions. They're putting everything on the team and having the team decide if they want to play these games. Or,
Obviously, they're gonna say yes.
Like, I mean, that's just literally putting someone's life at risk right there when you yell
yeah,
at people.
why can't the higher ups just make the decision on
I'm
their
so,
own?
I'm so not surprised that the first team that happened to was a team from Florida.
Oh, yeah, no,
And
no
Miami,
doubt.
Oh my God.
In
Yeah.
Miami, of course.
See, and like, I mean, that's one of the main reasons I don't think that the season will continue. But many other people think that it will, which is one of them, the commissioner Rob Manfred.
They're fucked.
In a meeting with all 30 owners, he said they believe that the protocols are adequate to keep our players safe, and the owners said that they intend to redouble health directives, which basically only means that they're going to make the players wear masks
In the
or facial
clubhouses,
coverings in the
and
clubhouses.
shit like that.
And they plan to reinforce on-field behavior prohibitions, which is basically against gestures such as high fives and players coming in contact with other players.
Huh. But you just
But you're standing in these dugouts
Yeah.
like right.
2 inches away from each other when you're not on the field. Like, the dugouts are packed. How
Well, the end thing is just that regardless of even if they're following proper behaviors while they're playing baseball, they're not in a bubble. So like once they're done playing baseball, like they're not.
They're still traveling. They're still staying in hotel
I
rooms.
understand there's still
And that's
contact.
actually one of like it's I think it's a fact that at least one of the Marlins players, all right, before their game against the Braves, opening day, they went out into Atlanta, and they were like they went out on the
Yeah.
town, and it's one of them for sure did, but it's like theorized that multiple players did, which I mean, what do you expect from these guys? Especially, I have a feeling that it's going to be the younger players, because a lot of the veterans probably know a lot better than to fucking do that shit.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. It's just
And-
difficult.
So do
Yeah,
you think
and
the
it-
season's gonna last
Well,
until
No.
October?
You
No.
see, I mean, Manfred, the commissioner, is one of the main leaders in saying that the season will continue on. But earlier this year, in a radio interview with Dan Patrick, he was asked what would have to happen in order for him to exercise that power of making the season shut down. Because he is the one man alone that can shut down the season.
Like right then
And he said, I don't have a firm number of days in mind to pause the season. I think the way that I think about it, Dan, is in the vein of competitive integrity in a 60-game season. Manfred said, if we have a team or two that's really decimated with a number of people who had the virus and can't play for any significant period of time, it could have a real impact on the competition, and we'd have to think very, very hard about what we're doing. So he's already had one team almost impacted greatly by the coronavirus in the Marlins.
What
They're
is it?
already missing.
They're up to 17 now.
Post
17, 19 now.
Is it going to take one more? Is it going to
They're-
take the New York Yankees?
That's
to,
what I think. The thing is that because it's the Marlins who were not going to compete this year, they weren't going to compete for anything. All right. The thing is, if it was anybody else, like the Yankees, Dodgers, Astros,
Is it going to take?
it would have been taken way more serious.
Is it going to take one of those big teams where it's going to get through his
Or
mind?
it's gonna take someone to get seriously ill. Like I understand athletes. Like I'm glad athletes aren't dying because they're all healthy and in good shape and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, who knows? Like one of them could. Like look at how quickly it went from one person having it to 19 people having
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, it moved
Like
through that team
how
very
lucky are the
quickly.
Phillies that they don't have a positive test after playing the Marlins on that day? And like honestly, I think if anyone on the Phillies had tested positive after that game, I think that right there would have been a different conversation.
Yeah.
And I think the second more than one team has an outbreak, that becomes a problem.
And like, how often are these MLB teams testing? Are they testing every day? once a week, twice a week, like
I think that every 2 days. It's every 2 days.
every 2 days.
Every 2 days.
They tested every day for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, and after the Marlins all were tested, then the Phillies, they decided to do every day for them.
Well, what's the purpose of testing if you're gonna get positive tests and still be
they're
like?
able to quarantine them. That's what I'm saying.
But
This
they
whole-
don't even use.
spread.
Someone come back positive and they're like, oh, we're
They've been
talking.
part of that team for the last day.
Another rule they have is that while the test is gone to be tested, they don't have to stop. Like, say, like a person was showing symptoms.
Yeah, they don't have to
And
stop.
they don't have to
So
stop.
they've still been a part of that team
Yeah.
for 4 days till they get the test back. Like, how many people could they have affected?
The thing is, they can't keep pushing games back. If another team gets an outbreak, then they're fucked. Because the television networks have already said straight up that they don't want to go past October. They don't want to go past October. And if they have to keep pushing back games and canceling and delaying, everybody's not going to be able to play the same amount of games. And it's not going to be a fair, level playing field.
But that's the thing. What's in their contracts? These TV contracts that they've signed go through 2021. Do they have to cover these games if they don't want to go past October?
The only reason that these sports are even being played is just for the sole reason of everyone.
Money.
MLB's out here saying we want to be done by October, so we're not putting people's lives at risk anymore. The NFL is canceling the preseason because they think those are unnecessary. Like, they are wasteful games, but the reason they're canceling it is because it's an unnecessary risk for the players. Like, why is playing a sport with people on the field an unnecessary risk there, but not when they're making money? It's just because everybody wants money, and that's the reason why this coronavirus pandemic is still going on.
Right. So I do think the MLB is going to survive the season. I think they're going to last till October. How that's going to happen, I think, is going to go down two paths. I think so. We'll take the Marlins for example. They have 19 people. So I see two routes they can take. They can put those guys in quarantine for 2 weeks, pull up a bunch of AAA players or free agents. But I find it hard that free agents are going to want to go to Miami right now for just 2 weeks. So route 2 is the MLB just goes, Marlins, I'm sorry, you guys are done. We're going to keep playing without you.
No way they can do that though.
Dude, I don't see why not. They want to keep this train rolling.
They want to keep making money.
They want to keep making money.
If
the
the outbreak is contained within the Marlins, they're just gonna find a way to get the Marlins back.
Yeah.
Like,
if Rob Manfred said that in order to maintain competitive integrity, then if he really means that, then you can't play a season without the Marlins. Like, you can't just tell them to go kick rocks.
You can't.
You can't do it because it's not fair.
I agree, it's not fair, and I'm not saying that it's right, but I'm just saying listen. The MLB and the relationship with the MLBPA is horrible. It's the worst relationship in sports, and I can see the owners of these other teams just being like, listen, we don't care. We want to keep making money. We want to at least get some kind of profit out of this. And so last year, if we're going to compare, last year they made around $10.4 billion, and that's for the full year. And now they're playing half the game. So if we're breaking this down, there's a really in-depth article. I'm just going to summarize it real quick. So basically, you need to assume that, there's not going to be any revenue from ticket sales and indoor, merchandise from those facilities and stadiums, such as food and stuff like that, right? So that basically brings you down to about roughly $5 billion left that could potentially be made in this season. And then if you want to go in further and see where that money is coming from, there's a lot of good things that make them money. A lot comes from just TV broadcasting. They have a lot of deals with that. Playoffs makes them a bunch of money. And there's just a bunch of rights, and then a bunch of TV stations are owned by some of the teams, so that they can make revenue that way. And it's really just, dude, when you come down to it, if you look at the contract negotiations in between the players and the owners, it was really just about money and not wanting to pay the players their full salary for the games. They were like, we don't want to pay you. The players were like, well, listen, we're playing 81 games, so pay us our full salary for those 81 games. So basically saying we deserve half our salary instead of getting paid the full thing. And they're like, well, we don't think that's fair.
Well,
we want to give you less.
The problem was that they wanted to pay them less, and then from the start, baseball players themselves have been saying that they feel like they're putting their lives at risk playing that. I haven't heard anyone say anything in any other sport that they feel like the NBA or the NHL NHL is putting their lives at risk.
Well,
they
because
just
the
wanna
other sports
play.
are in bubbles.
Yeah, exactly.
That's-
So,
yeah.
so what person thought that that
It
the
would be-
NBA, the MLS, and the NHL need to be in a bubble, but the MLB can go ahead and start right now? And
The
Exactly.
thing with
move
that
on
is
down
the
the-
thing with that is that like right now, even not MLB, like you go down the street to the field down there, there's kids playing baseball, and it's because it's distance. Like obviously not the players themselves on the same team.
Yeah.
They're not distance, but their opponents. They're distant from their opponents.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it's
they
not-
are.
the thing is-
until
it's-
somebody
it's
gets
just-
on base,
it's
you know, the
technically
Yeah, I
first
know.
not a
baseman's at
contact
risk.
sport.
I know.
The catcher
But-
can be at risk.
I know. That's
like,
what I'm saying. But you're way more distance than any other sport.
You are,
Yeah.
yes.
Because it's
than
not a contact
any other
sport.
team sport. Yeah, and
It's
the
not a
thing is
contact sport.
that if MLB, the most distant sport that there is, can't fucking maintain
Yeah.
an outbreak like this,
Yeah.
nobody else can.
I mean,
And you can't
the,
do it.
The other
Things are put in a
major
bubble.
league
Yeah.
sports have been able to
Well,
because
the
they're
NBA
playing in a bubble.
The thing is,
But if they keep leaving,
the
like
players
that,
are
doing it-
not going to be able to keep doing this for much longer.
And the NBA said
Lou
that they might
Williams-
even have to go to a bubble for 2021. season.
Lou
You think they're
Williams
gonna keep
left
go- yeah.
in like 3 days in. Players had gone outside of the bubble to pick up food. Like,
Yeah.
they don't get it.
I mean,
Like
those
it's-
wings looked fire,
It's
bro.
gonna shut the fuck up.
Just saying. I would smack
Yeah,
those
I
wings,
mean,
bro.
like,
Like you can't
I read,
have sports right now. You
I mean,
cannot.
it's really all about the money. And I
It
read
is.
somewhere with like the revenue losses that the major league teams are having, if they continue to pay their players full salary, it would have been the players getting 89% of the revenue, and then the owners
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
the rest.
Well, it's just because, like,
And they didn't-
comparatively to
yeah.
how much they usually make, it's a lot
Yeah.
of money that they're losing, but they still make a lot of
Yes,
money in the end.
but that's why the owners, they propose the 50-50 thing, where they give they pay the players 50% of the revenue, and then they get 50% of the
Yeah.
revenue as well.
Well, like what Pat and I were talking about this before the episode, just kind of shooting the shit, and the MLB isn't the most open organization about revenue and how much they make.
Well,
so
yeah, because it's all privately owned.
Right.
They don't have to show their numbers if they don't want to, which
crazy.
obviously they don't want to. None of them do.
yeah, so it's a lot of guesswork and estimation on our part, so the numbers aren't exactly going to line up. And who knows? The owners could be saying that they said that they are gonna be losing about $5 billion, I think, or maybe it was $4 billion, but that number could be so much lower.
I mean, you've seen
no
it.
one knows.
You've seen it in football with the Carolina Panthers. The owner of the Carolina Panthers said, like, he needed ticket sales. He needed people to come to the games because he was
But
losing money.
most teams are still charging people for being able to put, like, the
Sign.
fake
Yeah,
logos
well,
up in there.
this was even when fans were allowed at stadiums.
Oh, yeah.
Because nobody has the numbers, but then it came out that he was actually making almost over $200 million
Yeah.
from revenue, but he made it seem like he was losing so much money
Right.
because nobody knows these numbers.
Sports are all about money. That's what it comes down to.
Well,
It's all about money. Nobody gives up. Owners don't give a fuck about
None of
players.
us are complaining that sports are back. We want to watch sports.
Yeah.
I'm glad sports are back.
Yeah, we're making good money off of it. You heard.
Like, fact of the matter is, like, if it, like, they're, like, it's just becoming more and more clear that they know that there's a health risk out there, and they're just planning to make the revenue.
Yeah.
Right.
So this kind of moves to the questions like, do you guys think sports should be happening right now?
No.
Like, what
It's-
are your
it
guys'
depends-
thoughts on that?
I think there's such a huge scale from one side to the other. What's going on? Like the NHL, they're going up to Canada. They're getting out of the country. I think they're doing a lot of good steps. But then you have the MLB, like they just said that there's a positive test coming back, and they just need to go in a group chat, all agree that they want to play ball, and then look what's going on. So I think with the right protocols and you follow those protocols, it can be possible. I think the bubble's a good idea. I mean, but overall, like the thing is, you don't know what's going to happen. Someone could get sick, and you could have all the right steps involved. Someone could get sick, and then you're in trouble. And then someone, so
I mean, you kind of touched on like one of my main points there, like NHL going up to Canada. Like, see, I don't think sports should be happening
No.
right now, at least in the U.S.
I don't think
I think-
Yeah, I mean,
players.
look at soccer
Exactly,
in
but-
Europe and Asia. They're
Exactly, they're
killing
fine.
it.
But the thing
but
is,
they went through a
the
lot.
play-
Like, a lot of losses and sadness when it was through, but
And they waited.
They waited it out, and now they're back.
But
and
the
there's
players
no problem.
and the
I think sports started up too quickly in the U.S.
Yes,
Well, everything
obviously.
started up.
And the thing is, I do not like that NHL is going to Canada because you're just moving American players to play
Well,
up
they've been
in
in the
another
bubble
country.
in America prior.
I know,
to.
but it'll cause issues because if an American player,
well, then it becomes an international incident.
yeah, exactly. If an American player brings like
Yeah.
COVID to Canada and then
Yeah.
it creates an outbreak there,
Yeah.
then it's just gonna be all more political issues,
Yeah.
and it's
I mean,
just,
Canada's been
Fortunately, Canada's
very
right,
strict.
yeah.
They've been
And
very
Canada's
strict.
also very-
What-
yeah.
They didn't even let one of the teams.
They didn't let the Blue
They
Jays
wouldn't
Blue
let the
Jays,
Blue-
right.
Well,
I think that's
obviously,
probably because they already had so many
Yeah.
NHL teams coming there.
and they knew that it's going to be a traveling, like they're traveling.
Yeah,
Like,
MLB
why-
is traveling, so
Yes, because there was going to be a lot of back and forth.
Yeah,
over the
exactly.
border
Which
for
makes
baseball.
I think that's
Yeah.
crazy that the MLB is still doing that. How the fuck
is.
are you gonna allow guys to travel city
Cross
to
the
city,
country.
fucking cross country, and
I mean,
not
like,
expect there to
the
be
Red
an outbreak?
Sox, what they play the Yankees and then the Mets in New York. Like,
No, they
I-
played the Mets and they played Baltimore.
Yeah,
well,
they-
they're traveling
they will.
soon.
They will.
Be traveling
Okay.
to New York soon to play the Yankees and the Mets. And I was listening to the radio, and they were saying they don't even have to switch hotels because
Yeah.
they're so close. And I don't get why they didn't do more planning like that, where you can.
Well,
not,
Governor
not,
Cuomo had actually said like all the MLB teams, like if you want to come and you want to
Yeah,
play
he said
here,
we could have a bubble.
like
in
how the
New
fuck
York.
you gonna?
They should have
They
had a
want to
bubble.
make a bubble with the Yankee Stadium being one of like the main
But,
locations.
like-
and just do it in the new.
But like in the
have
mid,
one
when the
bubble
season
in each-
just started
in
though,
each
like how you
region
gonna
of the
do
country.
that?
They-
Season just started. Like it took the NBA
Yeah.
months to get.
No, I
it
think
up
it's
and
too
going.
late. I think it's too late to
Yeah.
do the bubble. But also the NFL. Russell Wilson's been very vocal about how he's nervous about even playing, and then you had what 6 Patriots
Well, look,
guys opting
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
And Damian Williams just opted out today from the Chiefs,
Yeah.
so he doesn't want back-to-back chips.
It's
over there, but-
the thing is
Yeah.
like no matter what, any team sport will have an asterisk, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah.
It affects the competitiveness of teams.
Dude, Damian
And I
Williams
mean-
was the fucking star
Yeah.
of the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
I think,
running
I
back,
think
yeah.
even if they don't put asterisks next to the name, everybody knows.
Yeah, everybody's gonna say.
everybody
regardless.
in everybody's head, there's gonna be an
Yeah,
asterisk next
it
to
won't be an official asterisk, but in
Like,
everybody's
I-
head, like,
I
it'll
just
be
saw-
like, oh, that was an awkward year. Like,
I
that
saw a
happened.
quote, from one of the Dodgers players. He was asked, like, do you think that the championship team should have an asterisk next to their name? And he just straight up came out and said, well, they didn't cheat their way to get there. So, like, you know,
fuck
like, I
asterisks.
get that portion of it.
Yeah,
but,
no,
like,
the whoever wins everything will have their due credit and respect, but like
Yeah.
obviously in the long run of history, like this will be that one like awkward year where things were off.
But yeah, and then you get all the arguments of like, because I think more and more players are gonna leave or opt out of the seasons. So like you get
Well,
you
here-
get all those people like, oh, we didn't have this, we didn't
Exactly.
have that. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be a very awkward, weird sports year.
So I'm starting to think actually for the NFL, because so the NFL is also not planning to have a bubble. They're planning on doing the same thing as the MLB.
Yep.
But they don't start till September, so I think that gives
I
them.
think they're gonna
that,
learn
gi-
from
they're
the
gonna-
that
MLB.
gives them time.
Yeah,
to
but I
are
also
going
think
to
they're
watch the
banking.
MLB
I
fail
think they're
and then-
banking on the fact that like COVID, they want COVID to like slow down, obviously.
But yeah, because that's why they're canceling preseason
Yeah,
games.
exactly.
So they wanted to start as late as possible, hoping that it's gone.
Yeah.
Which it won't be gone.
No,
Makes no
And
sense.
then MLB wants it to end earlier.
I
so
don't
they
think
can
there's.
stop
I don't
pushing
think
it
there's
along.
any way that they're going to be able to change what the MLB's doing unless they put more rules and shit in place. And still,
And
people
follow
are
them.
going to be people, and they're going to break the fucking rules.
Yeah, you got horn dogs going
You
out.
can't. Like,
Gentlemen
there's no
clubs,
way
bro.
to
But,
prevent.
but because of that, that's why I think of it in the way like these guys are people too. Like you can't like they don't want to be like, they have
Prisoner.
families
Yeah,
at
it's
home
like
and
they're
wanna
in
stay
prison.
the
Yeah.
bubble.
And that's why players
For
are opting
a
out
whole
because they don't
season.
want to not see their family
Yeah.
for.
Months
And-
for months.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And just
Like, some of
because
them, like-
because of that, I would say that sports shouldn't be happening. Just because
Yeah.
like I feel for them. Like why for our entertainment should they be risking their lives taking less
Somebody
money
else
and-
actually just opted out today too, saying that he's put his family through enough.
Yeah.
Was it Marquise
Mark-
Goodwin?
yeah, yep.
I was just about to
Saying
say
that-
that he came out. I don't know if you guys know him or his wife's story, but they've had multiple miscarriages with children.
Yeah.
At least 2 or 3 miscarriages, and she finally got pregnant again.
Yeah.
The kid is healthy.
Yep.
Yeah.
She just had the kid not
Yeah.
too long ago.
Yeah, I don't
And
blame him. Fuck
he
that.
just opted out. Obviously, does not want to put their family in risk with what he's been through and what his family's been through, and I completely understand that.
Yeah. So basically, there's a fine line between getting this right and getting it wrong, and there's still a lot of risk in between it. But before we tune out here,
Tune out? You mean move on?
Before, all right, we can move on right now. Real quick, we posted on our Instagram about the Mike Tyson fight. I personally think this fight against Roy Jones is like actually ridiculous. I think it's like money grab. I think it's stupid. I think it's actually bad for the sport of boxing. I think it makes it almost like a joke, you know. And then you also have Jake Paul and Nate Robinson.
Well, fuck that fight. I don't care about that.
No,
fight. Nobody cares about that fight.
But why is that even on the card? Why is that even there?
This is where I do and I don't see it as a money grab.
I don't think it's a money grab at all.
My reasoning is, I think for other people this is a money grab. Other than Mike Tyson. Other than Mike Tyson. He's been training for a while. He's been trying to get back to fighting. Yes, he hasn't fought in 15 years, and he's still looking like a good boxer.
Do we have an update on Mike Tyson's financial status at the moment?
So the thing is with that. Listen, all right. So yes. All right, go ahead.
Just my main question is, does he have the stamina to fight still? He's 54 years old.
Yeah, but the guy's fighting
How
51
old is
also.
Roy Jones is old too,
51.
Right?
Yeah, he ended his career.
They're both
His
old.
career ended in 2018.
Yes, exactly. That's my
So
point.
he's gonna have a little bit.
He's still a little bit there.
He has 67 wins.
Yeah, he's an
But-
40. Where is it?
Caleb Simmons said that.
67 wins. He has like 40 something.
I mean, I don't think this is a joke for Tyson or Jones at all.
Yeah, I'm sure
But
they're gonna fight it out.
Yeah, but I can completely see why you would say this is a joke or a money grab fight, because they have Jake
undercard,
Paul
yeah.
and Nate Robinson fighting. How
That's-
can
I
people
hate
look
that.
at this card and not
There's
think,
gonna be other.
Well, because
There's
it-
gonna be
it
other
just
fights on the
becomes
undercard though.
yeah.
There will
No,
be
there
other
is, but how can you have this fight on one of the
Mayweather, bro?
undercards
No,
and look
shut
at this and think that it's not a joke?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
I don't know.
The thing with Mike, all right, so I don't think it's a money grab for Tyson at all. They were trying to give him a lot of money to fight, and he kept saying no, and then he was finally like, all right, fuck it, I'll do it. And the thing is, anybody that knows his career, he's had a fucking rough go at it. All right, and he finally like found himself religiously, spiritually, and I think a lot of things have changed in his life. He's finally in a spot where he can say, all right, I can return back to fighting and like be who I used to be, except for not like being like, fuck you, I'm gonna fuck you till you love me.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just gonna be. I think it's a health risk too, dude. These guys are older. You know, Mike Tyson, bro.
You say someone's dying, though.
Dude, I think
51.
someone
on the night
could.
of this fight,
Why do you say that somebody's gonna fucking? How is it a health risk? Boxing, it's boxing.
No, I know.
They're
I know. There's
old.
always a
They're all-
risk.
it's all
But
health.
I
It's
know
all
it's always a
health.
risk. I know, but like you have like 20s and 30-year-olds and low 40s, but now we got 55-year-old dudes
This
out
dude
here.
retired 2 years ago.
Yeah,
they're
but-
55-year-old freaks of nature. That's the thing.
54,
Yeah.
54.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, so yeah, I think it's weird. We'll see what's going on. Well, we'll have more on that coming. When we get closer.
Dude,
to
I still think Mike Tyson's gonna win. Though.
No, yeah, see,
He's a fucking animal.
It's in a while.
I
yeah.
think the Jones Tyson fight, I think it's going to be a good fight. I mean, you've seen all these videos of Tyson training. Some people think it's a joke.
I'm telling
I
you
mean,
right now, all right.
I think he still got it.
I 100% still
I think
got it.
he
You don't
still got
just
it.
lose a killer instinct like that. Like you don't just stop punching
no,
now.
exactly.
Well,
I'm-
let's
No,
just
yeah.
say if it's a money grab, then Mike Tyson is winning.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Well, I just think
I'm
if
just-
boxing wanted Mike Tyson and getting in more involved, dude, just have him be like a host, and I think that would be hilarious. Just having him.
Fuck
talk.
that. He's coming back, baby.
Just have
After he
him
wins
talk.
this, I want him to fight fucking
I don't know,
Fury,
you know what,
baby.
just send him to the UFC.
I'm really excited
That'd
for
be
this
crazy.
one.
Fuck.
I'm excited to see what the lines look like.
Yeah.
You know,
Facts.
I
We
don't
are betting
know,
on that, yeah.
I don't know who they're gonna have as the underdog.
That'll be in a while. I don't think that fight's.
It's
a
not
couple
till
months.
October.
Yeah, it's not till
Yeah.
October.
So it's got. I mean,
thought
it
it was
will be a
September.
while, but
No, it's September.
whenever.
September
September.
like 16th or something like
yeah.
that.
So,
Well, yeah, so-
but I mean,
Tyson's 50-6 in his career, 44 knockouts. Which is
All right, guys. So you heard it here. We talked about a lot of things going on in the sports world. We've also touched on the Mike Tyson fight. There'll be more on that coming up. So definitely stay tuned. We have our masks on because we were talking about the corona and we don't want to get it. You should too. So definitely tune in. Check out 413 Tourneys. We said it earlier in the show. Definitely check them out. They're a great tournament on Facebook. You can play your favorite games and make some money. Why not? Even give it a shot. So definitely check them out. They're a great tournament. They're up and coming. They're going to be huge. So you get on that main floor, baby. Pat, what are the people in the audience got to do?
Ooh, they gotta like, follow, subscribe. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. How's your bird? Instagram. How's your bird _official. We're there.
And
We
if you
have all
don't
the
do
breaking
any of that,
news.
if you don't do any of that, we'll come and we'll find you and we'll hunt you down and
And that's it. Good night.
we'll do stuff.
And